Yay. Lolly. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I asked everyone where you're from. So while we're taking a moment to get settled, as everyone comes to our sacred online hangout room here, which is wild technology. So Oslo, New York City, the UK, Australia, and hi, Diane. And Toluca, Mexico. Awesome. I love it. And California. And Monica, it's not exactly so sunny at the moment. The sun is going down, and today it literally went from like 90 degrees to in the 60s right now. So it's kind of, I'm really feeling the fall today. So I'm very excited to share with everyone today about, how to kind of keep balanced during the holiday season, but also this is just really applicable at any time in our life, because there's so many factors that can stress us related to food and family and cooking and money, all of the things that can get triggered around the holidays. Hi, Marie in Canada and Denmark, Alabama, sweet home. Bogota, hello, Rocio. So yes, and if, Dubrovnik, hello. So we will, I would be happy to take some questions at the end. So if you have questions, you can type them in, and then Tracy, my lovely and brilliant, awesome, I'm not even sure what she is for me, she's so much. She's down in the little window at the bottom, so she'll keep organized everyone's questions, and then I'll go through them at the end. Yes, and family, Linda, yes. So, as we go into the holidays, many of the triggers that can occur in our life are amplified because, we're around family, like I mentioned, money factors, the pressure of, am I giving good gifts? Am I supposed to give a gift? Am I not? Am I going to be late to dinner? Am I going to burn the turkey? What about the vegan guests that are coming? All of the factors that can get triggered in their day-to-day. So when I think about my own path, when I really started working on the yogic path and spiritually to become more responsible for my emotions and more responsible for my reactions and more present and tuned into them as a trigger, but also the empowerment that I can choose to respond instead of react. I learned a very powerful practice, and it has to do with the different types of food. So obviously around holidays, food alone can be a huge trigger, and that can trigger us on the levels of security and comfort and very deep. So, and I go really much more deeply in that in my 8-week course that I do and can address some of those specifically. But in general, I want to talk about the 3 types of food. there's the physical, which is obvious. And like I said, our physical relationship with food is deep and old and ingrained and very tied into our family history, our ancestry, the images of health that we've picked up along the way. And then we have our psychic food, which is very important and often overlooked. Our psychic food is emotional and mental food. So this is all of the impressions of information that is constantly coming into us. So for example, right now I'm sitting in this beautiful purple room and I have this nice lamp and all of you are holding this space with me together right now. So this is my psychic food. And if I had classical music on and, you know, as the sun is sort of going down behind these clouds, it's a lovely psychic input that's coming in through my senses. So our psychic food is all of our information that's stimulating our senses. So just imagine what our psychic food would be like right now if we were watching the news. And the news right now is pretty intense, and a lot of what's going on in the world is intense. Most of the films that are made right now are intense, and there's the adrenaline and the fighting and that. So that stimulates us in a way that our nervous system has to process. We have to digest the psychic information that gets stimulated by our senses. So then we have our spiritual food, or our pranic food, and I like to call that our breath. So let's all take a breath together. And we all know that the power of taking a deep breath can calm us, can bring us back to a center. You know, meditation is grounded in breathing. So breath is the key element for keeping our psychic information and our psychic food process. And it is an incredible tool for keeping our physical food digested and to help us from not overeating or overindulging. And the tricky thing about holidays is we have a mixture of psychic food that we're not always around and an incredibly extra amount of physical food. So that combination can be hard, and often people overeat when they're not processing their emotional or mental food, right? So I want to teach you a couple really simple tools on how to maintain that balance, right? So one of the tips for, and you know, this morning when I want to add this, when I was thinking about this group and the holidays and some of the triggers, I really wanted to include the emotions that can come up around the holidays for people that maybe don't have family, or their family has passed, or, you know, we're reminded of maybe pets that had passed in this past year or years past, and traditions, and the power of tradition to captivate us emotionally, and how strong those waves, those emotional waves can be. So that alone, the power of memory, of emotion is also a psychic food that I really want to honor. And yeah, and I love, you know, just that we're all gathered here. And one thing I'll say is in the smaller groups that I do, I get to see everyone's face. So I prefer to see everyone. So this is a little, I'm glad I was able to get some names and where you are, because my gift is the ability to tune in and read people and get that information. And I feed on that, and I love being able to apply things. Hi, Julie in Kentucky. So I want to feel the connection that we all have together in this group, and start off this Thanksgiving week, which is our holiday here in the United States, of gratitude, you know, and gratefulness. And I am incredibly grateful to all of you for being here and for being able to use the gifts that I have to serve and to hold space like this. So thank you. I start my week in that. So when you're going to be around family, or, and this could be for holidays or any scenario, start your day with you. It's my first tip. Start your day with you. So when we have a big day, or we're traveling, or, you know, you're going to cook for 20 people or even cook for 3. Some people get stressed out with even cooking small amounts, and I honor that. Be sure to do something for you first, whether it's exercise, whether it's go for a walk, sit under a tree. Be sure to meditate, because often people will forget or forego their spiritual practice on the days that they need it the most. So I really like to get out in nature, in my garden, and pull some weeds, or just sit, snuggle with my pets. Something that is grounding, that reminds me of my own center and gratitude before I mix myself and circulate with lots of others. So that's tip number one. Start your day with you and ground, and bring yourself back to your intention for the day. What is your intention for going to be with your family? What is your intention for hosting a huge dinner party? Align yourself with that remembrance. And the second tip is called Nadi Shodhana, and it is a breathing exercise or pranayama exercise that has been for many, many years sort of the foundation for myself to keep myself emotionally processed and digest my experiences and input and stimulus that comes in. And that's called a switch nostril breathing. And I have on my YouTube channel a tutorial on how to do that, and you can do that with me. And I have a couple ladies, about a dozen of us, that are doing a 21-day, and you can join at any time. I do this practice every day. It's very balancing, and it balances the hemispheres of the brain, the channels in the body, and the masculine and feminine force within us. So this is a very powerful tool if you are just wanting to do mindful eating practice or being around emotional triggers. You can always start and end the experiences with Nadi Shodhana. Okay, it's very simple. So check out that YouTube video. Number 3 is to focus on love, to be in a state of gentleness and kindness with yourself and others, and to anticipate your challenges, right? So when I'm going into a situation where I might be around a relative or a friend that I haven't seen in a while, where there's, things we haven't talked about and there's tension, I anticipate the challenges so that I can be prepared. So if you always have an Uncle Ralph that gets into really dark and heavy conversations about politics, then you can anticipate that challenge and be a little more prepared and focus on love in those situations. And I love Louise Hay's quote, which I use all the time, is when you're not sure what to do, focus on love. So this could be the mantra for all of us, every day, every situation. When you're not sure what to do, focus on love. So when you anticipate some of your challenges, if you know that you get stressed out in the kitchen, and I know I do. If I'm cooking for a lot of people and I'm hosting a party, I get a little stressed. Some people, that's easy breezy. But for me, I know, okay, I'm going to start my day. I'm going to ground and do my practice. And if I have a certain kind of music going while I'm in the kitchen, it's easier. If I have friends with me where we can be playful and make a mess and really spread out, then I'm more comfortable. So anticipate some of your challenges. Also, I like to think of fun ways to deter challenging situations. So what are some uncommon conversations that you can engage people in, or when you're sitting at the table, really ask people, let's go around and just say what we're grateful for. And to be okay in the unknown, to allow the imperfections of the day, because that's really embracing life. And my 4th tip is one that is, the main vein of my practice and what I feel is a success in my practice and working with people in a healing context, is to really listen. So really listen to yourself, but also to everyone that's around you. If someone is hurting, or they sound like they're complaining and they're just venting, really listen for the undercurrent of what's really being said. And just hold a space of love for that. And a great tip I once heard is, you don't have to fix it. People just really want to be heard. So if you imagine you're holding an invisible garbage can, that'll give you something to do. So they're talking, and you're holding the garbage can and just letting it go. and releasing it. Sorry, there's a siren going by. So to really listen and allow your heart to listen to the undercurrent of what's really being said. And I think that that is a really powerful tool to maintain yourself in a state of centeredness throughout your day and throughout your challenges. And another key for listening and for tying into the next tip, which is to really know your edges, is I like to use a mudra. It's a yogic mudra or hand position called Gyan Mudra. And it is simply putting your thumb and your index finger together like this. You've often seen, you know, dakinis or beautiful beings. Oh, I have a bruise on my to hold that Gyan Mudra. So Gyan Mudra is a powerful and simple tool where you can draw your energy back to yourself. So you feel like, imagine that you feel like someone's sucking your energy, or they're venting, or you're not sure why are they going on and on about this, or I'm starting to get angry and upset, or I feel out of control, I feel victimized, all those triggers are coming up. Just go, okay, I'm going to keep my energy flowing within me by just doing this simple mudra. Keep your energy flowing to and from you, and just go, and go back to your listening, making space. And then, yes, number 5 is to really honor and know your edges. Honor your boundaries. Take breaks. So empower yourself by choosing when to disengage, emotionally and physically. So I have used the tool many times to say, oh, excuse me, I need to use the ladies' room. If I feel like I'm getting a little off balance, or I can stop and take a drink of water. Just something where you can remind yourself to tune back into your own current, your own divinity, your own source. And then you can step back out and say, okay, I can handle this a little bit more, and I can focus more on the love and stay in that place. And if you know you don't want to sit in a room with people watching the football game, don't do it to yourself. It's okay. Look at ways that you can love the people in your life in unique and small ways, by, really sitting with someone and asking, about their life, or tell me something that you're passionate about in your life. Like I said earlier, the uncommon conversation. So when you need to disengage, go outside, go for a walk, go into the bathroom, splash your face, do some of the pranayama, the switch nostril breathing. Don't go get on your phone or, disengage in that way. Disengage from the stimulus, not disengage from yourself. The idea is to retract, tune in, resettle. And if it's too much, maybe it's time to go home. Set your boundaries in that way. And this, honoring your edges and taking breaks, relates to physical food also. So I've mainly been talking about the psychic food so far. So I believe in the 80-20 rule of eating. So 80% of the time, you will be really impeccable and really feed yourself food that supports the life that you want to live and supports the experiences and the body and the strength and the clarity. So you feed yourself that yumminess. And 20% of the time, you can, be the guest in someone's home that's feeding something that you wouldn't normally eat. And I'm not saying go against your values. If you're a vegetarian, you don't have to eat meat. But I will, I went to a party last night. I was a guest, and I had a little bit of gluten that I wouldn't normally eat. And I was happy to eat it. And then I did number 6. I took digestive enzymes. That's my 6th tip. So 20% of the time, you can be a little bit off. So that's 20% of holidays will fit into that, or maybe having one day a week where you allow yourself to have a dessert. And that is, I want to say, if you have sugar issues, if you have health issues, it's a different scenario. So I can get more specific and personalized in my courses. But overall, 80-20. And 80% vegetables, 80% protein. 80% vegetables, 20% carb. So the key here is to be alkaline. And yes, on holidays, we tend to indulge, and I had my mama, my paternal grandmother, was amazing. She would literally cook everyone's favorite dish. And there were a lot of people in the family. I think I have probably 25 cousins. And she would cook everyone's favorite. you know, so he would have the cheesecake and she would have the string beans and she would have this and that. And, you know, it's gracious to eat what's served. So have little portions, you know, and to honor your edges and to take breaks to breathe and eat digestive enzymes to support your digestion and exercise in the morning, breathe, focus on love, and mainly focus on keeping yourself emotionally digested, because your physical food digests a lot better when you're emotionally and mentally staying in real time with yourself. So our 6 tips are: start your day with you, really ground in your intention, focus on why you're doing what you're doing, and ground in your spiritual center. Focus on breathing throughout the day, and that breathing as the 3rd food really helps us to keep a balance of knowing when you're physically full, when you're psychically full. Focus on love. Be in a state of gentleness with yourself. Don't judge yourself if you want to have chocolate pie or pecan pie or whatever. I like chocolate. Don't judge yourself. Anticipate your challenges. Be kind with yourself and allow the unknown and the imperfections. 4 is to really listen to yourself and to those around you. What is the heart really saying? Honor your edges by using Gyan Mudra to keep your energy circulating within yourself. Take breaks. Empower yourself by knowing when to disengage emotionally and physically. And utilize enzymes, digestive enzymes, which I think in the notes, Tracy will put together a notes email that'll have a link to some enzymes to support you. That's a great question. So I'd like to know what everyone's grateful for. Throw some of those out there. Oh, Melissa, I am grateful for you in my life also. Mwah. And Linda, grateful for your mother. I'm grateful for my mother too. She is phenomenal. And I wonder if she's on here. Are you on here? Uh-oh. My son calls my mom uh-oh. Just adorable. Long story. Yeah, so Tracy said she'll send the notes. Good. So what is everyone grateful for? Toss that into your chat comments. And also I know I'm not doing an 8-week right now, but I will be doing one in January, February, starting another round and looking at time so I can honor some of the beautiful people in Europe and Australia that I like to work with. But the 8-week course is really powerful for delving in more personally and fine-tuning and practicing and engaging some of these tools to make really profound changes in your life. I'm grateful to have time with my family too. Thank you, Beverly. Beverly said she's grateful to have this face-to-face time with you. I love being able to do this. I wish that I could be face-to-face with you. That would be wonderful. Your cat's name is Uh-oh? Barbara, would you do me a favor and go on my Facebook page and post a picture of your cat? Grateful for your health and your family. Yeah, grateful to have my whole family together for Thanksgiving. I will be with Louise this Thanksgiving and with friends. My mom and dad are coming from the East Coast for my birthday, which is December 7th. So my son and my partner will be at Louise's for dinner. We'll be cooking. That'll be wonderful. So you can imagine that'll be really wonderful psychic food. And I'll post some pictures. Julie, grateful to be learning these wonderful things. I'm so happy. You know what? For me, I had trauma in my upbringing. You know, I had physical abuse. I had, I had the kind of that victim consciousness that I had to really work out of my system. And I did a series of really working on myself and getting my spiritual center and ground really strong. And then I would go put myself into situations with my family where my triggers would be there. And I would feel when I get to my edge, and then I'd go in the bathroom. I would do breathing practices or different tools that I had picked up along the way, and then I would challenge myself again. So I found that to be a powerful way to exercise the muscle of grounding myself and to not be in that reactive place. So yes, Grateful for people in my life who I feel connected to. Me too. You know, there's our physical family, which we're blessed if we get really good ones, our blood family, and then we have family of choice. Yeah. Family, health. Yes, I'm very grateful for my health and for knowledge and the ability to have such an incredibly rich life and to be abundant. And you know, that's probably tip number 7 is, you know, particularly around Christmas, there's such an emphasis on presents and giving and, you know, Black Friday and shopping and all of this, and to really remember what is abundance. And abundance to me is spiritual wealth and spiritual, like for me to have this precious life and the privilege and the richness to every day be able to meditate and have space for myself, to develop myself in a way that can be useful to help others. Like, to me, that's abundance. To have a home where I can have guests and feed them. It's grateful to wake up every morning. Yeah, in Buddhism, there's such an incredible teaching and simple teaching is that we all just focus on the gratitude for this precious life, you know, and how amazing. Good quality probiotics. Yes, with enzymes, you could toss those in with probiotics. That would be great. And Nida, for our generosity, for Ahlea and Tracy. You are welcome. I know when people were asking me about the webinar, they're like, well, what are you selling? And I'm like, nothing. We just want to share information. Just wanted to connect with our community and share and empower each other and know that we're all holding the space together to have a beautiful holiday season. And this is still fall. We're moving towards winter. But in the fall, and I know I went over this in the fall webinar, but I just want to clarify again, because we're still in this opportunity, is to release anything that doesn't serve us, or release anything that we wouldn't take with us into our sacred hibernation chamber, and to make precious, and to look at what we take with us and see it for the preciousness that it is. And then as the days get darker and the nights get longer, we are in the winter. And that's a time to be close. It's Yule. It's the time to really enjoy our family and feel that warmth. It's not a time to be out in the world, you know, the sun isn't blazing. It's a time to nuzzle in with our nest eggs and think about the seeds that we want to keep warm and compost through the winter, to see the seeds for the seeds we will have in the spring. Trees take all of their energy, they drop their leaves, and they suck their energy down into the trunk, down deep into the earth, into the roots through the winter, to conserve energy, to build energy, to really nourish from the inside and then burst forth with green, springing forth life. So we're moving into that time. So I really encourage everyone to focus on that in your meditation and your daily reflection. So Ruth said she's grateful for all the people in my life who I feel connected to. I think I said that one, but it was so good. Grateful for having love. Yes, Jem, I agree. The ability to change what's not working and embrace what I want in my life. Magnificent. Good. And are there any questions for me that anyone wants, anything about anything I've presented tonight? Or I'm open. Toss some questions out there. And I think someone asked what brand of enzymes. I do like the Premier Research Labs Digest. It's called Premier Digest. And one that you can also get at a health food store is Enzyme Medica. It's a pretty good quality. I like plant-based or food-based supplements. I think that our body digests them much more effectively, much more easily. We don't create as much heat. We create a lot of heat, and there's a lot of stress put on the body when we try to digest chemically based anything, right? Our liver has to process it. So when we take supplements or support, or what I call gap insurance, it's best if it's food based, right? Another thing through the holidays is to really keep yourself alkaline by supplementing with greens, green drinks, green powder, toss green in your smoothies, put spirulina in water and drink it, you know, and also broths, vegetable broths, bone broths. These are really fortifying, you know, as the tree goes deep into the roots, and also the things that are growing through the fall and towards the winter are mainly root vegetables. So they're so rich in vitamins and minerals that's what our body needs. So also lots of mineral baths through this season. So good, nobody has any questions? What a surprise. Okay, if there's any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll review one more time. To focus on love, to start your day with you, to breathe in the crispness of the fall and the winter air. Breathe in the love of your family. Anticipate your challenges. Focus on and engage people in uncommon conversation, not the normal humdrum things, you know, like you meet someone new, what do you do for a living? I always like to ask people, wow, it's lovely to meet you. Tell me, you know, what are you passionate about in your life? What do you like spending your time doing? Here come the questions. And then to really listen. What is your heart saying and the heart of others? Honor your edges and empower yourself by knowing when to disengage, by using Gyan Mudra, by going into the bathroom, and to use digestive enzymes, right? So, mineral baths. I like just good old Epsom salts, and I also like from Premier Research Labs, they have something called Medi Soak, and I use a combo of the Epsom salts and then the Medi Soak. Mineral supplements, if you're having broth and greens. Yeah, so first of all magnesium that you take, you want to be sure that it is a chelated form of magnesium, such as glycinate, threonate, malate. Let's see. When you drink water, and I'll say this again, I say this all the time, but it's so important. If you're drinking purified water, if you have a reverse osmosis filter, that takes out all the yucky stuff, but it also takes out your minerals. You don't want to drink water that is mineral deprived. You need to remineralize it. So, and stress alone sucks up minerals in our body. And so many processes that the body and our cellular metabolic functions rely on minerals just to function. So, and depression, you know, sluggishness, that afternoon 3 o'clock tank of energy many people have, quite often that can be recovered by just really bringing your minerals back into balance. So Beverly, the 8-week course is really so beautiful. And I just finished another course and I'm already missing the group. And so what it is it's a weekly web class, and it is done similar to this in the way that you can see me, but I'm also able to see everyone. And it's kind of like little boxes like the Brady Bunch or one of those television game shows they used to have, where I can see everyone's face. So therefore, when I'm presenting, I can see everyone's face and see how it's going in, what it's triggering, what's coming up. Everyone gets to share. There's an incredible value to the sharing and participation. There's also a Facebook group that we all share actively on a regular basis. Tracy and I moderate it and answer questions. And so it's an 8-week course, and each week the class has a theme and a curriculum, and there's homework and really practical and profound homework exercises, or what I like to call life crafting or soul work. Those are the two kinds that you get. So to really deepen your relationship with food in a healthy way, and to really embrace how to be kind to yourself. And I mean, the changes that people have are really phenomenal. So yeah, so the day and time will be set. We'll be starting one in January, February. We've done them like at this similar time, like a Tuesday at 4, and I've also done them at Wednesday at like 11, and those are Pacific Standard Times. How long do you boil bone broth for effectiveness? Marie asked. So there's something called stock, and then there's broth. So to be very specific, so bone broth, I will put it in the crock pot and will sometimes cook it for over 24 hours, 36 hours. And Louise, one of the things that she does that I love is she has the ever-evolving bone broth. And you go into her house and it always smells amazing. So she'll make her broth, and then when she steams vegetables, I do the same thing. You add the broth water, so you steam your vegetables, and then the water, you add that to your broth. And she freezes different ones, whether she has duck, turkey, chicken, whatever. And then she'll also, when she'll steam veggies, she'll eat some, and then the rest she'll puree, toss that in the broth. And so it's ever evolving, right? So, but to really cook it, it depends. So stock isn't cooked as long. And some people that have issues with glutamates, which if you know anything about your methylation or your genetic process, that would be a gene or a single nucleotide polymorphism, or SNP, that relates to a challenge with digesting glutamates. So that's the only time I would say for people to have stock versus broth. Let's see. Megan, I'm grateful for this webinar and the almost full moon. Yes, tomorrow. And it's a powerful one. Yeah. The green powder that I like is, again, from Premier Research Labs, and I love their products, but I'm not an affiliate. I don't make money when you buy things from them. So it's called Premier Greens, and I love that. It's, to me, the most energetic qualities to it and the cleanest standard of processing, and I love that one. I also love one that's called Billy's Infinity Greens. I believe it's called Billy's. And I also like fermented spirulina and chlorella. Those are all some greens that I use. I always travel with greens. I have greens every day. I'm stressed, I have a little more greens. If I get lack of sleep, I have more greens. I have a toddler. I have those nights often, hopefully less and less. So Noelle, will this webinar be made available to watch later? So let's look down at the little picture of Tracy and see if she gives us the thumbs up. That's a yes. Okay. Monica, how do you release what's not serving you when you're not sure what it is? Okay. That I will make into February or March's webinar topic, because that's a really powerful thing. And I do something that's called, cord claiming. And so where you're able to find areas where you're out of balance with yourself, whether it's with others or situations, and be able to pull that energy back and claim that back for yourself. Yeah, and Monica, one thing you can do is see if you can locate where in your body it might be, and just at least focus there. Focus on sending love and releasing and allowing a communication, a dialogue to begin. So, yeah. And that's a larger question than I could probably answer right now, but okay. Nida said the 8-week course is an awesome experience, nourishing and nurturing. You learn a lot about body, mind, spirit, and soul. Thank you, and I agree. And I learned so much from everyone in the group. And there's a certain intentional vulnerability and openness that enables just profound change, and it's done in such a safe way. It's such a sacred circle. Thank you for providing this webinar. Juanita, you are welcome. You're welcome, Noel. Am I concerned about boiling in a stoneware crock pot for 24 hours? And what is the stoneware paint? I am absolutely concerned about the stoneware paint, whether you're cooking something in 24 hours or not. Your cookware is very, very important. So, yes, I would. So ceramic, glass, enamel, like there's some higher qualities or not that are considered okay. Because so what Marie is getting at is when you cook something for a long period of time, the heating mechanism, the chemicals can get released from your cookware. So yes. And if anyone has non-stick cookware, frying pans, you should toss them. Okay, Linda, how many capsules of digestive enzymes to take with or after meals? So with the Premier Digest, because it's a food-based enzyme, you can take it before, during, or after. Doesn't matter. And if it'll just help to purify your blood if there's not a lot of food in your stomach. But generally during or just after, and I take my enzymes based on what I'm eating. So if I have a raw meal or a smoothie, I don't need one. And if I have something that's cooked, I'll have one. If I have something that's cooked and more complicated, I'll have two, right? So depending on how complex the meal. If I'm having dessert, another thing, if you're going to have dessert, make sure there's a healthy fat somewhere near the sugar, because that'll help your blood sugar be more balanced so it doesn't spike. Yeah. See, I can't keep, Tracy and I joked because I was like, okay, I'll do 6 tips. And she's like, yeah, right. Like I could keep it to 6. So Linda, do I do these webinars once a month or sooner? I do these free webinars once a month. And we're doing a lot of more free content and little videos that'll be on my YouTube channel. So go onto the YouTube channel and subscribe so you get alerted as to when I post a new one, and leave comments on there. So I read them, we respond to them, and I like to know what you want to hear, what you liked, what you didn't like, you know, so yeah, once a month is free because I do the webinars most of the other weeks. So Amanda, would you recommend removing the fat from the bone broth or consuming it? That depends on the person. Yeah, it depends on the person. So I generally remove part of it, or you can use that to cook, right? So that's what people would use like for duck fat or to cook or to make food with. I also use bone broth or vegetable broth when I cook grains. So instead of just using water, I use the mineral-rich broths to make my grains, even if I'm making oat groats for breakfast. And I like oat groats versus any milled grains, right? Because it releases the fat, which can go rancid. So the YouTube channel is Ahlea Khadro, my name. So if you just go to YouTube, you can find it. And Tracy, I'm sure we'll put in the notes a link to the YouTube page. Yeah. And you'll see the November webinar there. Yeah. I enjoy doing these. So it's a pleasure and it's fun. I just wish I could see everyone. Well, great. Thank you so much for joining me and for being here. And come find me on Facebook and communicate and ask more questions if you have some. Or, you know, Tracy, did you put up about the 8-week? If there's anyone that wants to be on the list for interest about the 8-week, just click on wherever she put that cool link, and then you'll just be on that list. And I do, in my personal practice, I have closed the waiting list because I feel bad that many of the people on the waiting list I haven't been able to get to. It's a wonderful thing, but you know, when I start working with people, they generally don't go away, and then I like to really dig in deep with people. So I'm not able to take a lot of new people on a regular basis to maintain the quality and the care that I require of myself. So that's important. So the 8-week and these ways of interacting is really how I'm finding to connect with more people and be effective in that way. So how long does bone broth last in the fridge or the freezer? So the freezer, obviously much longer. I would say a couple months. And the fridge, I wouldn't go more than a few days. Yeah, and it depends. I usually use my little schnoz to smell. So, and I freeze them kind of in smaller containers, like glass smaller containers, so that I don't have to take out the big thing, but I can just heat up a small amount for one meal or for a family. If you're feeling run down, you know, have a cup of broth every morning. It helps the digestive system. And Louise and Heather Dane are coming out with a bone broth book. I believe it's in January, February. So look for that with lots of recipes. I think that Heather actually literally came up with an ice cream with bone broth. That is, I'll have to try it. She is the bone broth queen. So thank you. Okay, so if you purchase Premier products, is it best to order direct from them or through you? So Diane, is this Diane that is a client of mine that we've worked together before? I'm happy to go through to do that through me. So obviously, if we have a client relationship, I do make income that way when you buy them from me. So of course I would prefer that, but you know, I want everyone to have the best products. You can also get them on Amazon. You can't go directly through Premier, but there's other outlets. And in the future, I will have on my website, you know, being able to sell from there a handful of their products, which are absolutely stellar quality. So thank you. Thanks for saying I rock, Marie. Mwah. Much love and light to you. And Melissa, mwah, mwah. And everyone, kisses. And Jem, what an awesome name. Namaste to you also. And yes, I'm grateful to you, Beverly. Thank you for expressing that. And yeah, so Diane, it's time to have a follow-up. Wink, wink. So you know who to email. Have a beautiful evening, morning, night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And may we all be, this whole world, be surrounded in love and peace and kindness. And may, oh goodness, may the light touch those areas of darkness that so much need it. And let's all be the example that we wish to see in the world. And I know that we all are by just gathering here tonight. And mwah, my love to you, truly. Okay, good night.